A physicist pulled the trigger of a gun on himself and lived to tell about it, all in the name of TV. Andreas Wall wanted to see what happens when a gun is shot off underwater and used himself as the test subject. Although the gun worked just like it would on the surface, the bullet sank before hitting the halfway point due to the intense resistance in the water. Shot coming, Wall says, staring down at the rifle in a video documenting his death-defying feat. The video shows Wall waiting in a pool with an assault rifle pointed right at him. A long rope was attached to the trigger that he pulled after counting down from 3. The bullet burst out of the barrel with the same power it would if it was above the water, and since the camera is underwater, viewers heard the same loud boom. Water bubbles followed behind the bullet as it sped towards Wall, but momentum was lost before it reached the halfway point and gracefully sank to the bottom. It's harder to create movement in water than in air, because water molecules are closer together than air molecules, according to Wall's YouTube video. Wall dove under the water and brought the bullet back up to the surface, holding it high above his head like a trophy. This isn't the first death-defying experiment Wall has done. He has soaked himself in water before trying to roast himself in a fire. And another one where he was trying to prove the laws of physics by falling from a great height using a weight and a thin piece of rope. But even though Wall probably did his homework about shooting a gun off in the water, his face showed he was more than relieved the bullet sank. But the gun isn't the reason Wall is still alive, it's the bullet. Guns work underwater the same way they work above water, according to Science Channel's #1 series Outrageous Acts of Science. The casing of a bullet is waterproof and the firing pin collides with it, causing the gun to fire. Once the gun is fired, all of the energy produces hot gases that launch the bullet out of the firearm. Traveling through water, a bullet will barely hit 2 meters, which is because water is 800 times denser than air. And this is why Wall wasn't killed during his daredevil experiment. The bubbles viewers saw blowing out of the barrel were created by the different pressures in the water. In the front of the bullet there is an area of high pressure and behind it is low pressure, and in between is a vacuum of water that boils to create a small tiny cloud of gas. So there is an area of low pressure and the water around pushes in onto the area, according to Outrageous Acts of Science. The momentum of this happening squeezes the gas tighter and tighter until the gas becomes so pressurized that it explodes out again. This oscillate backwards and forwards, until all of the bubbles start getting smaller and smaller and disappear completely.